Welcome to the Heidi Thorne Show. I'm your host, Heidi Thorne. And in this podcast, I share my real world self-publishing and small business experience with you. So let's get started with today's show. Now, today we're going to talk about an aspect of the self-publishing survey that I find kind of interesting, and I think you might too. It's what doesn't motivate authors to self-publish. Now, in past episodes, we talked about the survey aspects of what really motivates authors to self-publish. And of course, that was fulfilling a lifelong dream. They love writing, self-expression, and creativity. So that's what's really driving them. But let's look at the opposite side of the spectrum. What doesn't motivate them? And here's the bottom three answers. Bragging rights. Everybody else is doing it. And I don't really know why, but I know I want to do it. So let's unpack those answers. Now, the last one of, I know I want to do it, don't know why, that's just some indecisiveness, and it might be the answers from some of the newer authors or as yet unpublished authors. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. They're still trying to figure it out. But the other two answers, bragging rights and everybody else is doing it, those are not motivating. Now you have to look at those two. Those are what I would call social comparative factors. So they don't really care that they have some sort of one-up on the rest of their community or their friend groups or their networks. Self-published authors just don't care. Looking at what that really does drive them, which is self-expression and creativity, their own personal dreams, and their love of writing, it's all very personal. So they really don't care how it positions them, how self-publishing a book positions them in their community. Now that's a very fiercely independent position. And I totally understand that. I'm the same way because I didn't self-publish to get a one-up on the rest of the people in my network. I did it because I really wanted to get my ideas out into the world, and I did it as a support for my other business adventures. So I didn't really care if everybody else had a book, didn't have a book, what they thought about me having a book. I really didn't care. So I'm just like you. It doesn't really matter to me at all whether other people self-publish or not. Now, I think the other aspect that we have to look at is the community motivators. In 2016, we had higher responses for what I call community motivators, wanting to help the world, save the world, and offer encouragement, all those kind of community building type of things. And we really didn't have a lot of high response to that in 2018. And I think that is reflective of the author groups that we did have in 2018, which were less on the coach consultant type of author and a more diverse crowd, more fiction authors, just a more diverse author group in 2018, and I think it's more reflective of what's out in the real self-publishing community. So they really don't care whether it's a community effort or not. And I think the other thing that we have to look at with this is where bragging rights and everybody else is doing it doesn't make a difference, is that now we have the tools and technology where everybody and anybody can self-publish within minutes. If you have your book manuscript done and it's in the right format for Kindle Direct Publishing, you can get it done in a few minutes. So having a book published is not the same type of prestige that it used to be back in the days when traditional publishing was the way that you got a book published. And back then, if you were anointed as one of the publishing house's authors, that meant that you had passed a lot of gatekeepers and you got the attention of a lot of important people in order for them to invest in your book project. Now, with everybody being able to self-publish within minutes, it doesn't have that same type of prestige that it did. Traditional publishing might still, as we've talked about before, there are some authors that really do want traditional publishing for that badge of honor that a publishing house's investment puts on your work and your ideas. So I do understand that, but in the self-publishing realm, it just doesn't have that same type of prestige. So self-published authors are really just doing it as more of a personal project. They don't really care whether it has the prestige. They're just really trying to express themselves. So I thought that was really interesting. And the reason that I'm interested in it is because I don't want to be talking about, hey, you're going to have some bragging rights with your friends in my podcast and such, because you just don't care about it as a self-published author. So it helps me tailor some of my material to best serve you. Now, I have a big announcement. I have a brand new Udemy course, and let me get the exact title again it's How to Sell Your Self-Published Book on Amazon. So it is a brand new course, and I don't talk about how to format your book, how to get it up on Kindle Direct Publishing. I'm going to presume you know that. And I do have another course for that if that's what you're really interested in. But most people can do that at this point. And this really gets into the nitty-gritty of how to build your sales and some of the challenges that you'll face with that, how to build your author platform, how to even figure out what your author platform is. So it's a short course. It's 1 to 2 hours. I'm going to keep adding material as I do with all my other Udemy courses over time. But I think you'll enjoy this course, and I think you'll be encouraged by it, and it really will provide us a forum so that you can ask me questions, and I think you'll really enjoy it. Now, I hope you have found this podcast helpful. And if you have, I would appreciate it if you would rate and review The Heidi Thorne Show on iTunes. And while you're on iTunes, if you would subscribe to The Heidi Thorne Show so you don't miss an episode, that would be great. I'm also on Stitcher and Podbean. And if you like the video version better, you just have to subscribe to my Heidi Thorne YouTube channel, and you'll get updates on all my new videos. I would also appreciate it if you would share the Heidi Thorne Show, video or audio, with your friends on social media. If you want to see my self-published books, they are on Amazon. You just have to go to my Heidi Thorne author page on Amazon.com. If you want to connect with me, my website is HeidiThorne.com. Thank you so much for listening and for your support. I'll look forward to talking with you again in the next episode. And in the meantime, have a great day.